What's up, guys? It's your boy Zawoki back out with another crime type video, and today, with all the information that's going out there right now, Bryan Kohberger's judge just exposed a whole bunch of content or new information about the Idaho 4 case. We just found out too that he is going to plead guilty on all counts of the college students, but we're going to look into this case before the actual trial that happens on Wednesday. And let's get into the video. But first, what I'd like you guys to do, if you guys could do me a solid favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you guys also very much for that love and support. And then show that same love over at my girl, Christina Randall. Hopefully one day I could do a collaboration with her because she's fantastic. I definitely do enjoy her content. But go give her some love. I mean, she doesn't really need my help, because she's at 1.7 million. But again, subscribe, comment, like, and share. And let's get into the video titled Bryan Kohberger Judge Just Exposed a Lot of New Information in Idaho 4 Case. Alternate Suspects. Let's take a look.
Reading these documents, I was hollering. Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only.
Amen.
Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere.
There's no reason for it. Just be happy.
So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope
okay.
you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all are feeling good. I hope y'all are ready to get into the latest court documents that were just dropped. And you guys, I was reading through it and going, the wording, wait a minute. Oh my goodness. So many emotions. We're going to go over it.
Did they use ChatGPT?
Today. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, HelloFresh.
No sponsored.
Before we get into this, I need to let you guys know, though, I am not a professional. I am pulling all of my information.
Nor am I. I'm a reaction, commentary, and my opinion type channel.
From very public news sources that's already out there, or court documents that have been released publicly. I am reading them, filtering them through my own words and my own opinions. Go do your own research, form your own opinions. Just do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Y'all, Judge Hippler, if y'all have been following this with me, y'all know Judge is who was over this case in the beginning, and Judge Hippler, he just dropped his rulings on not only the continuance motion, but also his rulings on the defense's alternate perpetrators. And wow, they're pretty harsh. Now, y'all remember in the last couple videos, that Ann Taylor, Bryan Kohberger's lead defense attorney, brought in the idea of there being alternate perpetrators.
Was there?
Y'all, today we heard there is 4. But first, let's talk about the continuance motion, because y'all know the defense submitted a motion to continue and argued for back on June 18th. And in my last video, we talked about how Judge Hippler said at the end of that hearing that he wasn't going to issue an official ruling right then and there, but said that they should expect to go to trial as scheduled.
In the meantime, I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take place when it is scheduled for. Again, I reserve the right to write the decision that I come to, but as of now, I would tell you that it's likely you're going to trial on the date indicated.
Well, on June 26th, Judge Hippler issued his official ruling, and he denied the motion, but he is allowing more time for jury selection and preparation. So now jury selection is actually going to start on August 4th, and the trial is expected to start on August 18th of this year, 2025.
Oh, people are making it sound like it's happening on Wednesday. What the WTF?
Here's a screenshot of the amended scheduling order. Now let's dig into the judge's rulings because there are definitely some interesting little nuggets in there. First of all, right here in the beginning, the judge addresses the defense's argument regarding the amount of discovery that they just don't have the time to go through. Y'all know Ann Taylor has been saying that basically since the beginning. She's been saying, like, there is so much discovery. Basically, there is so much evidence.
And yet they destroyed that house. I still don't know why they did it.
That the prosecution says that they have against Bryan Kohberger, they just don't have the time to go through it all. They say that there have basically been a ton of issues that continue to arise from the...
That's your job. Why are they not wanting to do that? Oh, it's going to take more time than we have. Then you better start. Like, you picked up this job, you're going to do it.
State failing to comply with discovery deadlines. The judge replied to that saying that the court rejected this same argument 2 months ago when the defendant sought to strike the DP. In its order, the court observed the utter lack of any proof supporting the defendant's accusation of discovery violations by the state. And more importantly, the court found the defendant's complaints entirely unconvincing, pointing out that counsel struggled to articulate in any meaningful way what evidence, let alone relevant evidence, counsel had been unable to review. So basically, in layman's terms, the way that I'm understanding this is the judge is saying, look, you, the defense,
do your job,
are saying that you're not able to go over all this evidence, but you're not showing me one piece. What part could you not go through? And show me where it's relevant.
So it pretty much is the judge is like, do your dang job.
To his defense, show me where it matters to his defense. Show me exactly what part you're not able to go through. At the end of this portion, the judge says, perhaps even more problematic and more telling is the utter failure of defense counsel now or at any time to specify not only what needs to be reviewed, but importantly, when that review would be complete and the defendant ready for trial. Instead, the defendant seeks...
Give this to YouTubers. They'll have it solved in a day. They would go through this like in a heartbeat.
An unbounded continuance with no apparent plan to complete the review of unspecified evidence that counsel claims it has yet to review. This is not sufficient to warrant a continuance. Y'all, when I tell y'all we're just getting started, because when I was reading these documents last night, I'm like, oh, so this judge is really going to cross his T's and dot his I's. This judge is laying it all out. Like, this is what you're doing wrong. This is why I'm not he's not just in the courthouse saying, no, I'm not going to continue this again. He's like, I'm going to put this all in writing exactly why we're not dragging this trial out another 3 years. Then the judge addressed the defense's arguments regarding them needing more time to conduct a more thorough life history. Now, a lot of this part is actually redacted, but something that I found interesting is a section where it shows what investigation...
I honestly don't know why they keep redacting stuff from any case for that matter. Like, just leave it in and put an annotation that, I don't know, I think it's so stupid that they keep redacting stuff on this case, on the Watts case, on a whole bunch of other cases.
The defense has already done into Bryan's background, and it lists defendant's PhD education records, including coursework interviews and correspondence, the defendant's mental health and medical records, including, and then there's a redacted part, records related to a childhood car accident, defendant's employment records, mental health, education, and employment records of defendant's sisters, which I thought was a little crazy. Like, they're even looking into the family's mental health records. Mental health records of defendants' parents, father's military records and Social Security records, court records from multiple generations of Kohberger's family, the paternal side, VA records, and death certificates from maternal and paternal uncles, multiple interviews with defendant and each immediate family member, interviews of 2 of the defendant's 4th grade teachers, former boxing coach, and psychologist who evaluated the defendant in 2005. Interviews with multiple members of defendant's extended family on maternal and paternal side, and interviews with defendant's professor and advisor at DeSales University. Interviews of defendant's former coworker, interviews of at least one family friend, and letters and jail calls between defendant and his family. So,
did he have any pets? You want to put that in there too, that you want to talk to the pets? How dumb is that?
as y'all can see, this is what the defense has been doing. And before we get into what Judge Hippler said, just me reading that, I go, okay, so you don't have time to go through the discovery.
Exactly.
But you're interviewing Bryan Kohberger's teachers from 4th grade. You're interviewing a psychologist that he talked to 20 years ago in 2005.
Why not interview his parents while they were doing it to make Bryan? That's how dumb these questions are, when they could look at the actual evidence of the discovery and go through it, but they don't want to.
When he was still a minor, that's what you're doing with your time. But you're coming to the judge saying, oh, this discovery is just too much, we don't have time to go through it. No, you grasping at straws is what it seems like.
It's your job.
Like, from my very unprofessional opinion. The judge says it is evident from the reports of defendants' mitigation experts, Dr. Orr, Dr. Ryan, and Dr. Brams, that they have developed an expansive understanding of the defendant's family. And y'all, I found that to be like kind of like tea. Like, the judge is saying, from all these doctors, it sounds like y'all have a very large understanding of Bryan Kohberger's family at this point. This is what you've been doing. And towards the end of this section, the judge refers to this further investigation as a fishing expedition. Hello. He says that at some point, particularly after 2.5 years of investigation, the defense team must be satisfied with what they have. You guys, do you understand how this is my unprofessional opinion? The judge is like, after 2.5 years, you're coming to me needing a continuance, saying you can't go through the discovery, but you're out there fishing.
Are they like going on vacations? Are they having Mai Tais? Or like, what have they been doing for the past how many years or days?
Okay, from a psychologist that he talked to 20 years ago, from his 4th grade teachers, like, why not his kindergarten teacher? Why not his 3rd grade teacher? Why is 4th grade? Y'all, it's so unbelievable to me. Now, in regards to the defense's arguments that they need a continuance due to pretrial publicity. Now, y'all remember the documentary and all that stuff.
What?
The judge said this: with the measures the court has already put in place to protect the defendant against the pretrial media coverage and the court's carefully crafted jury selection process, there is no reason to think that an impartial jury cannot be selected through a searching and robust voir dire. In addition, while continuance may be appropriate, if pretrial scrutiny is reasonably expected to fade with time, it is an ineffective tool where publicity is such that there is no reason to anticipate that it would subside by any delay, which would not put off the trial indefinitely. And then he said this, and I was like, hello, I agree. He also said that the longer that the public is made to sit and wait for the facts to come out of the trial, the more time that there is for inflammation, speculative stories, movies, books to circulate, and more time for prior ones to be rebroadcasted, purchased, viewed, and consumed by the public. Proceeding with trial as scheduled will likely avoid negative consequences from future publicity. Thus, the court finds a continuance is not warranted based on the media coverage. Rather, careful and patient voir dire is prescribed. I mean, you guys, even with the trial, look at how big that got. And then with the second trial and then more documentaries being made about it, it's just like the longer it's drug out, the more stuff keeps coming out, more interviews people are doing. The bigger that this is getting and more interest that is coming into this trial, the more people are going to be willing to pay for certain interviews. More, you know what I'm saying? Just get on with it. Y'all know how I feel about this situation with all of the evidence, that I have seen so far, and the lack of defense that we have seen, or any explanation of why Bryan's DNA was on the knife sheath, why he was around there, cell phone ping, everything, putting his DNA in little baggies, I'm thinking that they have the right guy. However, I even believe I could go sit on the jury and be impartial. I would go in there and only take what is presented in the trial to make my decisions. I think that they're grasping at straws, and they have been for a long time. Now, let's talk about the ruling about the defendant's alternate perpetrators, okay? So them bringing in the fact that, wait a minute, it could have been anybody else. In this ruling, we learned that the defense offered not one, not two, not three, but four, y'all. 4 alternate perpetrators. Now, look at what the judge says here in the beginning. He says, here the evidence the defendant has offered purporting to establish the 4 individuals as alternate perpetrators objectively fails to meet the standard. Namely, the evidence is entirely irrelevant. Nothing links these individuals to the incident or otherwise gives rise to a reasonable inference that they committed the crime indeed. And y'all, he says, it would take nothing short of rank speculation by the jury to make such a finding. Y'all, the word rank. Nothing short of rank speculation. Okay. Rank speculation. When I read that, I said, oh, so Judge Hippler said, we're not having a Casey Anthony Jose Baez trial up in here. He said, absolutely not. He said,
we're not doing that crap
here and throw all this stuff around. Okay. Now, again, like the last one, a lot of this document is redacted, but let's talk about what we do know about these alternate perpetrators now that this document has come out. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that's like, he's not the guy, okay? It was somebody else. So after 2.5 years, this is who the defense brings forward. In part of the judge's reasonings for his ruling, he says 3 individuals were each socially connected to one or more of the victims, interacted with one or more of the victims at social events in the hours prior to the incident, lived within walking distance of the crime scene, and were familiar with the layout of the victims' homes prior to social events. Okay. Now, just that part right there, I go, okay, these are college students.
Yeah. We
know that at least 2 of them were out that night at the bar. They came in contact with a lot of people. They stopped at the food truck. They're within walking distance of a lot of other people. Where are we going with this? Goes on to say, while perhaps this evidence could suggest an opportunity to commit the crime, which no doubt is an opportunity shared by dozens of others in the victim's social circles, there is no compelling evidence that any of them had any motive to end the lives of the victims, much less physically harm them, or a means to do so. Further, there is no evidence connecting them to the crime scene. A lot of people have problems with the fact that the judge said that none of these perpetrators or alternate perpetrators have a motive, because people are saying, well, Bryan Kohberger didn't have a motive. But this is the part right here that I really like. The judge
didn't somebody say that Bryan wanted to feel what it was like to take lives or a life?
Said that they have each cooperated with law enforcement, providing DNA samples. They all gave fingerprints. They all allowed searches as requested. So when the police went to them and said, listen, we think we just want to investigate you. Will you give me your DNA? Every one of them said, sure, here's my DNA. All of them said, search whatever you want to search, whether it was cell phones, homes, whatever. They allowed any kind of searches.
That sounds like innocent people. Okay. I know it's not the same case, but I'm just saying.
They completely cooperated with the police. And it also says that notably, lab testing has excluded their DNA from the samples taken from the crime scene and the...
But Bryan's DNA, Bryan's fingerprints are all over the place, including the weapon.
Victim. So none of their DNA was found anywhere there, okay? As for the 4th person the defense named, the judge said this, and this is, oh my gosh, you guys. The 4th individual did not know the victims, but had a passing connection to one of them while noticing her stopping at a store approximately 5 weeks prior to the incident. He followed her briefly out the exit of the store while considering approaching her to talk to her. He turned away before ever speaking to her. The event was captured on surveillance camera.
He's probably trying to get the gonads, the balls, to go up and talk to her. Do you realize that it takes a lot to try to talk to a woman in public? So it's probably a kid that thought she was cute and then just didn't do anything with it. And they're like, oh, he did it. Try to get Bryan out of the prison cell by this or the 3 other individuals. Come on.
This individual subsequently cooperated with law enforcement, providing his phone number and a DNA sample. As with the other alleged alternate perpetrators, lab reports excluded his DNA from the...
This is what I've been talking about, what we want from Nicole Kessinger. I know it's not the case that we're talking about, but this is what we want to find to exclude NK from the Watts case. DNA samples, fingerprints, whatever have you, all the information that she was, I don't want you to touch my phone. Why do you even need it? Like, this is what we want. Prove that she's innocent, like they did with these 4 individuals, and that to show that they weren't involved. That's all we want.
Samples that were taken from the crime scene and the victims, and there is no evidence connecting him to the crime scene. So basically,
it's Bryan.
In my unprofessional opinion, the way I'm reading this is they started going through all of these security camera footages, tracking the victims weeks, right? 5 weeks before the incident that happened on that night in November, they saw that one of the young ladies stopped at a store, and a man, we don't know how old he was. He could have been her age. He could have been much older. Whatever, okay? Say he was her age. Let's just say that. Saw her in a store. Maybe he thought she was pretty. Maybe she smiled at him in a store being nice.
And
Maybe
he thought a
was working
chance.
up the courage to ask her for her phone number.
I just said this.
Kind of follows her out, chokes up, gets scared, and turns away.
I've done it.
And like they're like, that's the guy right there. Well, they go to the guy and he says,
this.
hey, I had nothing to do with this. Here's my DNA. Search whatever you want to search. Completely cooperated with the police. And now he's not a suspect. And it's like, you guys, Bryan Kohberger's DNA was found on the knife sheath. You want to talk about DNA? When the FBI was sitting outside his parents' home, let's not forget that in the middle of the night, he was allegedly putting his DNA in baggies and walking it to the neighbor's trash can. And if you're just joining, the neighbors, they all lived on like 1 acre lots or more. I mean, he had to walk to the neighbor's trash can, and the trash was coming out the next day. He knew he was putting it in that neighbor's trash can so it could be taken off by the trash people, because the FBI allegedly went up to the trash people and said, can I have that trash?
Oh!
And that's how they ended up getting samples of Bryan Kohberger's DNA. So you got these 4 perpetrators that's like, here, yeah, give me a cup.
But then go after 4 individuals that have literally nothing besides talking or being in the same vicinity.
Spit in it. And you got Bryan Kohberger in the middle of the night. He done went all the way to Pennsylvania hiding his DNA. Come on, you guys. Let's be so for real here. I mean, sometimes people do really bad stuff and then they get caught. But basically, the judge said that he's denying this motion because it fails to give rise to even an inference that they committed the crimes or otherwise make it more or less likely that the defendant was the perpetrator. Therefore, it is completely irrelevant. It's irrelevant that a man saw one of the girls at a store and walked behind her like he was going to follow her out, like he was going to talk to her, and obviously choked up and went the other way. I mean, why do we need to bring that in? We're going to show that to the jury and say, how do we know that this wasn't the guy? Or how do we...
And they're going to go, why do we see this? Oh, you have the DNA over here? Oh, it proves that he was never even there? Oh, okay, thank you. It's a waste of time.
Know that this person that had a conversation with her at the bar wasn't the guy. Like, it's just ridiculous. He also said that the defendant has provided no significant evidence of motive, ill feelings, means, presence, at the scene or any other connection to the crime that could possibly move the ball to the extent that it supports an alternate perpetrator theory. At best, the defendant offers a proof can give rise to only wild speculation that it is possible that any one of these four individuals could have committed the crimes, which is inadequate under Meister. In other words, it's not sufficient for a defendant to merely just offer up unsupported speculation that another person may have committed the crime, which is all the defendant has done here. Even if there was a shred of probative value beyond wild speculation, it is not sufficient for a defendant to merely offer up unsupported speculation that another person may have done this crime. Such speculative blaming intensifies the grave risk of jury confusion, and it invites the jury to render its findings based on emotion or prejudice. And to me, it's giving... We're not bringing up Zanny the nanny. We're not doing that in this trial. I don't think so. Those of y'all that watch the Casey Anthony trial, you know, man, Casey Anthony, it was Zanny the nanny did this, and it was dad did this, and it was she had to learn to lie because dad did this. And
she's like, oh, look over here, but this is actually the important thing over here. It's so dumb. They're trying to play magician and they're bad at it.
It's just like this Judge Hippler said, we're not even going there. Bring me some real evidence. Show me somebody else's DNA on the knife sheath because it's only yours, Bryan. You know, like, so with all that being said, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that Ann misses Judge? I think so. I think she's sitting there going, we should have
Oh, I know what is happening on Wednesday. It's Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea deal. That's what it was.
In Moscow, because he was at least, you know, I think he would have probably gave another continuance by now. He was so softballing stuff, and Judge Hippler to me seems very fair, but he is laying it all out. Like he's documenting why he's saying. To me, it feels like he is trying to make sure there is going to be
there's going to be no problems. It's going to go run smoothly. This case won't ever open up again because they just want to get it done and over with.
Kind of room for an appeal or a mistrial or anything like that. He is doing everything he should do in the way that he should do it. And in Bryan Kohberger's defense, he's got a lot of explaining to do. A lot of explaining why he was circling their house that night in the same hours that the crime happened. Why did he speed away? That was his car. Why was his DNA on the knife sheath? Why was he purchasing on Amazon the same exact K-bar knife 10 months or 8 months prior to the incident, and then just a couple days after the incident on Amazon searching for a replacement sheath? Why was he hiding his DNA at his parents' house?
Idiot.
I mean, there is a lot to explain here.
And this guy was supposed to be smart.
And for the people that are online, and this is my unprofessional opinion, that are saying Bryan had no motive. I mean, maybe not a motive in a way of like
desire.
He didn't like somebody or he had some sort of vendetta against them, but it seems like he was obsessing over Andy and the BK and listening to them. I mean, it seemed like he was building a persona. I don't know. What do y'all think? I know that I definitely think that if these alternate perpetrators did not have anything to do with this, really, and they have done everything that Judge Hippler said, I'm so glad they didn't release their names.
Right.
Because if they would have released these four people's names, there are some people that will always believe that they were involved no matter what.
Exactly.
Even if it was just, let's say, another college student that saw one of the young ladies in
their lives would have been ruined.
Store, thought she was beautiful, was going to build up the courage to go and maybe ask her for her phone number, chickened out at the last minute, and what if he could have been drug into this? It could have actually really affected these people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know what y'all think down below. Other than that, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I'll...
So definitely interesting with her mentioning these new information that they're trying to bring up and so forth, which is complete poppycock. But yeah, the Bryan Kohberger is pleading guilty to all counts because he's taken a plea deal. I stop giving these murderers plea deals. It's completely stupid.
Accepted a plea deal. ABC News has confirmed.
That's why he took the plea deal so he wouldn't get killed. Wow.
That he has agreed to plead guilty to all counts. ABC News Live anchor Kana Whitworth is.
Would you plead guilty if you knew it, you didn't do it? I wouldn't plead guilty unless I knew I did it and I was trying to get off of the death penalty. Because you can't sit there and say, like, nobody wants to, like, DIE. I should reword that. They don't want to be lethal injected. They don't want to be electric chair, which I don't think not a lot of states do that anymore. I think there was one that was like 20 years, 40 years ago. But it's mostly lethal injection, which it should be a firing squad, to be honest. But it all comes down to the death penalty. He doesn't want it. So, yeah, I'll take a life in prison. I'll try to appeal and so forth. So it's just, yeah, that's why he pleaded guilty to all counts, because he doesn't want the death penalty. So, but yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts about the first part with Christina Randall and how it kind of ties in with what we want to know about NK, where the information is there. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, my train of thought is that the people that were innocent were willing to give up their phone, their tablets, their DNA, their whatever, to prove that they were innocent. But whenever NK was questioned about, oh, we need this, we need that, why did you even need it? They proved that those individuals were not even close to these victims. But yet we can't do the same thing with NK to prove her innocence or prove her guilt. I don't mean to put this case with that one, because I know somebody's going to say it in the comments. They're going to be like, Zawoki, stop talking about Chris Watt's case when we're trying to talk about Bryan Kohberger. I'm just relating things, okay? Just calm yourself down. You're up here. Be down here. But again, comment your guys' thoughts and your opinions. Keep them positive. Like Christina Randall says, there's no need for negativity. I'm sick of plea deals. They should all get death penalties. They took a life or lives. He took the lives of these 4 innocent people. What? To get his jollies off because his favorite serial killer was this person and that person, and he wanted to make a name for himself in the community of crime? There are people that do that. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends, and go over to Christina Randall and give her some love. We'll see you guys in the next video. Please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys in the next video.